shit. So that shit is interesting, man.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit
Now, let
like
me
that.
ask
Shit
this
like
question.
that.
So I
Shit
got a
like
poll
that.
question going. It says because we were talking about black women yesterday in terms of their conduct. It almost feels as though they rank lower. They've been directly compared to white women. So how about black men? So my poll question was, do black men rank below white men? Right, because that seems to be the back and forth that we're having in terms of the women. Right now, the poll is 57% saying no. Um, chaotic. When we were talking, and on several different panels, let me find my question real quick. I think I phrased it better. Well, let me just ask this question first. Where do you believe black men, and this for everybody, where do black men rank compared to other races?
Statistically, I feel like they got us at the bottom of the barrel.
Mm. What stats are you referring to, Bob? Like
Like,
anyone specifically?
in comparison to the Caucasian male.
Okay.
So and that would be in terms of like uh educational, monetary, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So employment. So
With
so I,
crime going to that bucket?
absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
I think the perceived narrative is that, as Bob said, right, the bottom of the barrel. I think if you remove the aspect of white supremacy, right, if you remove the emotionalism to it, if you remove having to, particularly in this fucked up country, having to deal with all the bullshit that black men deal with at work, in their relationships, as fathers, as brothers, otherwise. Um, we essentially are top tier in the world, right? We know this simply by how in awe people are if you happen to travel when you step on their land, right? In regards to education, if you happen to be one of the lucky ones who just doesn't automatically assume that the indoctrination you get in K through 12 schools, and I was an educator for 12 years, so some of Caddick's points were on cue. The monkey thing, I wouldn't call black children monkeys, but shit gets crazy in schools. But either way, you got to consider that we are the number one drivers of culture, a culture that is worth, I would argue, trillions. We are the number one inventors prior to integration. I think integration was one of the worst things that ever happened to black people. We invented damn near everything, including the devices we're utilizing right now, the internet and otherwise. You also have to consider what it is that functions in regards to black men, right? Most of these businesses, even geopolitically, as Chaotic was saying earlier, happen to run through black men, even though we don't largely profit because we don't, have the infrastructure. We don't have the military to enforce a lot of shit that we create, we own, right? Primarily, you could throw the Congo in there, right, with their coltan mines and all the above, right? This is why we have iPhones, cell phones, laptops, all this other shit. Who's driving that? Black people are. Unfortunately, we got corrupt niggas in the mix who sell out their people. But overall, to answer the question, yeah, perceive wise, narrative wise, the media is not owned by us large scale. You might have a Negro that owns one or two channels. But yeah, we get it. We constantly see the bullshit about black men, right? We don't own the media, so we don't produce the images and everything else, right? Outside of hip hop and that derogatory nonsense that we discussed earlier, in real world, tangible, everyday to day life, like black men are the shit beyond what anybody can put us down for, right? I think Chief spoke to that earlier, right? In his podcast and the things that they discuss. But large scale, like we're on top, but we also unfortunately happen to be crippled by a lot of the systems that are in place for us not to know who our true selves are, right? Not for us not to have a command, excuse me, over the confidence that we should have based upon the shit that we put out. And we also do this shit flawlessly. Like we do, anything that in regards. Oh, this shit fell off. Yeah, you hear me? I thought
Back.
this shit. Yeah. Um, in regards to anything that has to do with anything, but I'll stop there. But overall, my response is that we're number one outside of the perceived bullshit that's out there in regards to black men.
Go ahead, chaotic.
This might be risky. Some nights I cry myself to sleep thinking about this question. Other than ancient Egypt, the black man has been a damn constant historical failure.
Ancient Kemet is the actual name. The Greeks called it Egypt.
I know what it was called, sir. I was just a lot of people in the chat don't know, but I know it was called the land of the blacks. I know. I studied Egypt, sir. The Negro was gifted the greatest land mass in all of on this planet. The universe gifted it to us. What did our ancient ancestors do? They walked around naked and barefoot on it, beating on goddamn drums for eons. They walked on diamonds. They walked on gold. They had rivers that could have supplied electricity for thousands upon thousands of villages. But the dummies could never unify. Well, what's your evidence of this, chaotic? Well, all you got to do is look at modern day Africa. Look at Nigeria, for example. Now, Nigeria is an emerging market. I'll give Nigeria that. But here goes a country to this day that has over 100 different languages in the country. Here goes Congo that had rubber in the damn trees for eons. You would have thought the dumb Negroes would have built the car tens of thousands of years ago. I mean, trees, if you look at how old the earth is, right? The black man was too busy having sex, doing drugs in ancient Africa. He was too busy worried about coochie. How did you know this, chaotic? Well, all you got to do is look at ancient African culture. Weren't they walking around naked? Well, that's their culture. Oh, that's funny. Any man, if he sees a naked woman, all he's gonna think about is coochie. Come on. That's why the Arab covered. It's funny when the Arab covered his woman. Science, math, building structures went through the roof because the Arab man, he was focused on building. The black man was focused on getting coochie. Well, how do you what's some more evidence, chaotic? Well, go to most black panels now. What do black people talk about? Black men talk about. Walk past any black man on the street, man. I'll give me some pussy, nigga. Give me some pussy. I was so that bitch. That's all you hear. The black man is constantly thinking about nonsense. He was doing it 50,000 years ago, and the dumb Negro is doing it now. Even at 38, I walk away from Negroes when they start talking about coochie. I said, man, how much coochie do you need, nigga? How do you know this, chaotic? Well, how many black men in the inner cities, not even just the inner cities, how many black men have kids right now? I know black men now personally that have 5 and 6 kids with multiple women and brag about the dumb shit. Brag about ignorance. I'm an ancient. I'm doing what my ancestors did. They were polygamous. I'm a polygamist. I said, nigga, do you know how much money it costs to have kids? Man, you being Uncle Tom, chaotic. I'm being an Uncle Tom, nigga. Private school itself costs $30,000 a year for one kid. Man, I ain't gonna send no private school though. See, we don't want to admit anything. Now, hey, you guys can believe that the black man invented everything. That's fine. But all I know is what I see. You got most African countries literally that have a GDP of $500 million. You got blacks in America who are worth $500 million. Don't you see how poor these people are? It's because of ignorance. They don't want to build. They don't want to be constructive. Yes, you have Nigerians who come over here and they become engineers, but yeah, you might get a handful of Nigerians out of 400 million people in Nigeria, of course. Of course, but the masses of these people are ignorant and stupid and primitive. All you got to do is look at their countries. So yes, the black man is at the bottom because of choices. What do most black men do in America? Not all black men, of course. 'Cause I don't know all black men. I got to stop generalizing.
You do.
Smoking weed, smoking weed. All goddamn. Oh, give me a second, sir. All day when I was in college, the niggas smoked weed, drank alcohol in the student center, in the African Studies building, walking on campus, smoking weed all day. I'm not lying. I know what I saw. I know what I see now. Wasting time watching TV. I know niggas in their 40s. Man, we about to have a power party. I said a power party? Man, don't you watch Power? You mean the TV show about niggas killing each other and selling drugs to each other? No, I don't watch that because I find that to be offensive. If I'm going to watch something, it's going to be Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson, not Power, a bunch of niggas selling dope to each other. See, we worry about dumb shit. That's why we're behind. The white man ain't that goddamn powerful, but the white man prioritizes production. He prioritizes imports, exports. He gets into all types of industry. Even the mafia, the Italians, they got into the unions, the steel, and all that because they figured that's where the power's at. Niggas still running around gang banging. It's the year 2024. I don't hate black people. I love you niggas, but I'm tired. It's like I'm a madman. I see it for what it is. You niggas are behind, not you guys on the panel, of course, but niggas are behind choices, not the white man. Look at the Chinese now. 50 years ago, the Chinese were nothing but goat herders. 50 years ago. And you know what happened? Mao Zedong came in and said, you know what? We're going to stop this primitive shit. We're going to start building. And look at China now. They have some cities in China, my God, are insanely huge. I mean, literally 10 or 20 Los Angeles. That's how many square miles some of these cities are. I can't even think of the name of the one that's like 300, or I think it's like 1,000 square miles. I think I'm probably off on that. So that's why we're behind. I'll land the plane on that. Go ahead, guys. You got the floor. Go ahead.
Power is just as entertaining as you are, first of all. So let's start there. Power is just as entertaining as you are. If niggas want to get together and have a sit down and watch some entertainment, then they should have the right to do so. Secondly, you talked about the black man, being behind and being promiscuous and whatnot. But then an hour ago, 30 minutes ago, you proclaimed to having 80 plus bodies. Explain yourself. And lastly, you keep referring to us as niggas, but everyone outside of us looks at you as a nigga. So you got to embrace that, whether you identify it as it or not, my nigga. You is one of us, whether you want to accept that or not, bro. It's the reality is everybody outside of this circle looks at you as a nigga, and that's just the way it's gonna be. You are not, because you call yourself Negro and call us niggas. Don't separate the two.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Get pulled over by the police. Use a nigga. Trust and believe that.
Can I broach that real quick? What Chief just said?
Nah, you broached enough. You've been talking.
No. Chief,
No,
Chief said something. Wait, this might be risky. Let me say something.
Go ahead, man.
You can't convince me that the police are bad. Every time I've gotten pulled over by the police, I was breaking the law. I was speeding. My tags were expired. Every time. The police ain't never pulled me over randomly, sir. Most of the times, there are people getting pulled over right now. Nothing happens. You get pulled over and shot because you're doing something stupid, black or white. Let me ask you a question, sir. What would happen if the police weren't around?
Well, I didn't reference the police. I didn't reference the police at all.
No, I'm talking about Chief was said. Chief.
I am Chief.
Oh, Chef. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry, Chef.
No, I didn't reference the police at all, but you still didn't reference anything I said in regards to the black men and their promiscuity, but you having 80 plus bodies. There's no balance there. So it's really contradictory. You got to stand on something, my man.
Sir, I'm willing to admit the problem. I don't pretend. Yes, having a lot of promiscuous sex is bad.
So again, with that being said, you standing firm and admitting the problem identifies you as one of them niggas. You gotta stand on that. You gotta eat that. You can't.
No, I don't have children outside. I don't have children, sir. I know, and I'm not promiscuous anymore. That was in my younger years.
Oh, so you were a nigga,
No, I'm a American, sir. I'm an American. I
but
don't know
we
what you're
niggas.
talking about. I never said you were a nigga, sir.
You labeled
You
the entire cast.
you
Okay, when you
identify-
said maybe when you said you niggas or
I'm
you
talking
black
about-
people, I took it personal.
I'm
Okay,
talking
so maybe
about
that's on me.
as a population.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead, sir.
Entertaining, man.
Let me just read this real quick. Dana Downs with the $2 super chat. I'll pay if he'll stop saying coochie. You're showing your age with that word. That's all. Hey, chaotic question though.
Yo,
Do you acknowledge if they don't know you, right? If somebody doesn't know you and you with a group of other niggas, right? And they were using that term, they would be referring to you as well?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And the thing is that I'm not afraid of words. I could care less what anybody thinks about me. See, the problem with a lot of blacks, this might be risky, is that you want white people to like you. Well, they call us niggas, but you don't care about the black man saying anything about you. See, you want Whitey to like you. You want Whitey to respect you. You know, that crying ass nigga Corn that calls into the show. This might be risky. Always crying about white people. They don't treat me equally. Nigga, they ain't gotta treat you equally, you dumb bastard. Go to your own damn country. Go to one of the 70 African. We go to the 70 black countries on the planet. Fuck them. They ain't gotta treat you nice when you work for them and you're begging them. If I was white, I'd treat you the same way too. I told Corn that. I said, Corn, they ain't gotta treat you bad. I mean, good. But I also told Corn, you probably came into work high and late. Let's be completely honest on that. There ain't a lot of times there ain't racism. It's just you came into work high or late, one of the two. Because mostly blacks are either one. Go ahead. This might be risky. Let's be honest. You niggas
Most
come
black-
to work late. You brag about it.
Most blacks are what you said, high or late? High and late.
Either high or late, one of the two. Either
Okay.
high or late. Let's be
So-
honest. Let's be honest.
Entertaining, bruh.
People
Very
joke.
entertaining.
If nothing less is entertaining as fuck.
Am I lying when people say CP time? Am I lying about that? They
Is
don't
that
refer
a
to white
thing?
people.
Yeah, that's not referring to going to work.
Am I lying when black people make jokes about being late every goddamn where they go? Coming back from the lunch break late. Come on, man. Why we capping?
I mean, if it's to be fair, if it's a joke, that means it's an exaggeration of it. That's what makes it funny. But
Dude.
we're using your
You
words.
can't
You know what I'm
quantify
saying?
that,
These are the
man.
words you used. So I'm still just confused by you because you view yourself as an American. All right, you don't identify as a nigga, but you realize other folks would reference you as such. Words don't affect you because you're not trying to impress the white man, but you are thoroughly impressed by the white man to the point where you would disrespect the next batch of black children.
Russell. This question was asked last night, but it wasn't broached. Of course, I'm impressed by the white man and his accomplishments. Look at his accomplishments. Look at his skyscrapers. Look at the goddamn space stations in orbit. Look at their technology. Look at their science. Of course, there ain't nothing wrong with admitting it. Because when people say, "Oh, well, black people are the greatest basketball players," nobody bats an eye. The white man has ushered in the computer age, sir. It's nothing wrong with admitting what these people are doing. Yes, I'm impressed by the white man, and so are you, sir. Show us your car right now. Who do you bank with? Do you bank with JP Morgan Chase? That was founded by white folk. And it's still ran by white people. Jamie Dimon is the CEO. That ain't no black dude that runs that bank. These people control stuff. Now, there are black banks. I named a whole bunch yesterday. But I bet none of you blacks on the panel, and I'm talking about personal, y'all don't bank with none of the banks that I'm talking about. None of the black banks. So, yes, I'm impressed by the white man. This man was building cathedrals 2,000 years ago in Europe. This man had aqueducts in Rome 5,000 years ago. Come on, man. Why are we capping? This
One
man
of the whites' greatest accomplishments was conquering and killing black people all over the globe for centuries. Do you consider that an accomplishment that you
yes,
laud
because
over?
yes.
Killing
The white
niggas
man,
for hundreds
the
of years.
white
is
man,
something you-
first of all, you act like the white man was going there just killing people. The white man ushered in civilization, sir, at a high level. Most people on the planet were living like it was a goddamn stone age. They didn't get with it. They didn't get with the program. And sir, listen, we're all sitting over here in our 5-bedroom homes. Most of you Negroes got Mercedes and Maseratis outside, benefiting off the very same thing that you're talking about what the white man did and his ancestors. You blacks in this country kill me. The wealthiest blacks on the country crying about white supremacy and how they conquered, but you're on the very same land that they took and conquered from the Native American. You're on the graveyards of your slaves and Native Americans right now. Go ahead.